La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessica Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV and Roku.
That's right. Today is #Wealth Wednesday, and we're going to talk about how to reclaim your power in the realm of wealth and money. And so let's begin by knowing the truth. I know right here and right now that your birthright and our birthright is prosperity, that the entire universe only knows abundance. We're going to awaken the innovation and knowing that true wealth is health, relationships, and anything that your heart desires.
Oh, I love it. Wake up and cake up.
Wake up and cake up. Amen. I'll accept it, Erin. Thank you for that. I'm so excited to welcome to the show our very special guest this morning, Hunter Haskell in the house. Good morning, Hunter.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for being here. He is a leading expert in tech aviation sales. I'm so excited to have you here and pick your brain a little further. We've also got Zach Hurley. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning.
He is the CEO and founder of Indie Source. If you want a fashion line, you want to talk to this guy.
Love it.
Right? And of course, Antonio Edwards, hailing all the way from the south to Los Angeles this morning. Good morning, Antonio.
Good morning, good morning.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. So here on Good Morning La La Land, we like to know how you start your day, what your morning routine is, so you can wake up, accept that birthright of abundance, right?
And hear the sirens going by.
And true wealth, wealth and all your health today. Antonio, what's your morning routine? How do you start your day?
Yeah, also, when I wake up, the first thing I don't do is what I used to do. I don't check my phone anymore. That's like the first, it was one of the things I put like on a vision board is not to check my phone. I have a picture of a phone with an X. So when I wake up, I see that. Because I used to get in the habit of checking my phone and I get caught up in a lot of things. The next thing you know, it's like 4 hours going by and I haven't done anything. But so I don't check my phone. First thing I do, I go drink 2 bottles of water. If I don't make it to the gym, LA Fitness is the gym I go to. I'll do some reps in the house. I'll go run around the block. Third thing I'll do is I'll put on some jazz. So I'll put on like a music choice and like just set the mood for my day because I like to work off jazz. So that's like it's warming up my morning. Fourthly, I'll go read a book. I'll read a book for if I can read for 45 minutes, I did also for my day, but I at least like to read for 15 to 30 minutes just to get my brain just ticking for that day. And after that, I'll go sit on my pool deck and just like chill there for like 45 minutes, like see the sun. And from there, I'm warmed up. I might
get sunset.
Yeah, right there, Antonio.
Yeah.
Why
Right.
not?
And then it's Thursday.
Right. I mean the sun coming up, but from there, I'm already warmed up. Okay, I'm already warmed up. I'll grab a cup of coffee. I don't like to wake up and just get a cup of coffee because that usually like messes up my day as far as focus. So like a couple of hours, a few hours go by, and from there I'll grab a coffee and then I'll get to my emails and start banging out. And from there it's like I'm in the prime work of my day. So that's how I usually start my morning.
Wow, well, thank you for sharing. Zach, what about you? Do you have a special morning routine, 1 or 2 things to really kick off your day?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. So I wake up before I even have a chance to think about it. I run across the street where I work out with the group. I'm working out, and that's really helped me a lot. As soon as I have done that, I'm really like energized, ready to go. I do drink coffee, but at that point I really don't need it. Yeah. Make sure I have a good breakfast, and then I'm off to the races, really.
For sure.
Thank you for sharing. What about you, Hunter? What's your morning routine?
Man, I'm with my brother Rob, man. I wake up with that K-cup, so that's the only way to do it. But no, I have the coffee in the morning. I actually check my phone immediately. I have the Bible app, so get my little word of inspiration for the day, spend a little bit of time in some meditation and a nice cup of coffee and get focused on the day. Days start pretty early, do a lot of stuff overseas, so it's all about, just kind of get up and conquer the day. So that's kind of my morning routine.
Well, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for sharing. I'm excited to talk to you more later in the show.
Nice. So how was Montage, my favorite place in the whole wide world?
It was fabulous. So Enigma magazine had invited me to celebrate the 4th annual Arab Culture Glamour event. And it's an Arabian magazine. It was so spectacular. Oh my God, you should have seen the fashion that was there. There was probably 400 people on the terrace. Montage threw a lovely event. It was really nice to be there to celebrate. The founder of the magazine, Yasmin, will be in next week to talk about kind of the cross-cultural collaboration that's happening in the Arab culture in here in Los Angeles. So I'm excited to take
I think I could just move into the montage.
It's beautiful.
It's like so nice.
Smells nice.
Right?
It looks nice. Feels nice. It's a great place, and you look beautiful. Jess. Saw the Insta story.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you want to see some of the behind the scenes from the events I go to, be sure to follow my Instagram at Jeslyn, because I'm always out on the town.
Yes, you are.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Stay off my Insta story. I got nothing on there. I'll let you know right now.
How was your event, Erin?
The event was awesome. We had our third monthly event downtown at Row Downtown LA with Love Made, and we had another 100 women show up, and we focused on the abundance of relationships last night. So it was interesting because, you know, sometimes I do all different talks, and it's been a while since I've given one on relationship. So just getting into the metaphysics of knowing that the ultimate relationship is within. All other relationships are a projection and a reflection of your ability or inability to love, and really seeing every opportunity as the opportunity to grow. You know, that's what we're here to do. So
are you telling me the problem is me, not him, Erin? Because I don't know if I like that flavor.
I know, it's just so fascinating because, I mean, we all have issues. I mean, it's not like you graduate from this thing called developing a relationship, you know, otherwise you probably wouldn't be on this thing called Earth. So it was great, incredible women cracking open, you know, people just like crying and having breakthroughs, and it's so incredibly fulfilling. It's definitely my ministry, and I'm just really excited to develop this more and more, and we're probably going to end up doing a weekly event. Don't know if it'll be on Sunday or during the week, but stay tuned.
That's really special. Sounds like there was a lot of transformation. And speaking of transformation, we had a great show yesterday. Gretchen Rossi was here last week, but we had a couple other Real Housewives with us yesterday. That was really special. Let's take a look at the rewind.
We have toxic food all over the place. So I think that there's a constant reevaluate of what works for you and doesn't work for you from a baby step perspective.
And I tell women still to this day, the best thing you can do is talk to somebody. And if it's not your husband, because sometimes that's too close to home and maybe he's not going to understand, then talk to a friend. If, you know, go to a therapist. I mean, do what it takes.
What was the catalyst for you going into therapy and then hiding it?
That is a great question. I think there is a part of me that wanted to heal. But I was also so ashamed of what I was doing that I couldn't even bear to tell my therapist.
And that's what's probably the most rewarding, is just helping people.
Love that.
Making a difference.
I love that.
And the fact that I made it through alive, and and my kids are happy and my husband's happy, and you know, that's a blessing.
And you're saving the lives of other people and just sharing that story.
Yeah. I hope.
You really are.
I was really touched by her becoming so vulnerable in her postpartum depression. That was really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you so much, Peggy, for sharing your morning, your time, and your insight with us yesterday. I really appreciated the authentic conversation, and it was so inspiring to talk to Dr. Nina. You know, she's got a show here on Focus TV Network as well as the LA Talk Radio, and having a really conscious conversation around body dysmorphia and eating disorders, and really, you know, like you said, and knowing that our true wealth also is our health.
For sure.
You know,
absolutely.
It was a good conversation.
So let's talk about that. So hashtag Wealth Wednesday. So, you know, we've had multiple questions, and last night the event brought up some stuff. You know, I think that a lot of us go into a relationship because of money. It's, you know, it is a thing in our culture for sure. And knowing that as we give our power away to anything around money, we actually in that instant create the experience of being disempowered in the realm of wealth. So I think it's an important thing. Many other things is, you know, working with deprogramming people around money, that to reclaim your power around money. You know, how do you do that? I'm curious to know how you work with clients around that.
I focus on the emotion and the energy, because I think the trap is to wait for conditions to change in order to feel better, and that's the biggest trap of all. So for me, I help people understand that if they can shift the emotion and the energy that they have around things before the conditions change, they can then change the conditions. So it's really about empowering you to self-regulate, emotionally regulate. That in of itself allows you to change conditions and not be subject or to be a victim to conditions.
So I'm wondering though, is wealth something you can actually manifest? Can you manifest money?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm completely convinced.
I mean, we need to know that money is a symbol. I mean, money is not worth anything. It is not backed by anything. It's not backed by gold. It is a figment of the imagination. It's man-made. but in our agreed consciousness, it's real.
Well, it puts a roof over your head and food on the table, so it's very real and it's very scary for a lot of us. So where would somebody even begin to do that?
Right. I think that the first step is becoming aware of what you have already created, that you're a powerful spiritual being. Whether you create scarcity or abundance, it's the same energy used. So understanding where you've handed your power away in money, where have you decided it's more powerful than you, where have you, decided to do things, what the culture has told you, what your parents have told you, and beginning to just recognize how powerful you already are. And in that, you almost like go, oh, if I can create that, then I can create the opposite, right? So just becoming aware of it for sure in the first part.
Yeah, I love that. And I would say for me, it was really about prioritizing happiness first and foremost. Like, you could die in 60 seconds. You can die in a day, you can die in a week. And it's important for me to remember that because it lets me prioritize my happiness. I have this present moment, that's all I have. I don't know how much money I'll have in 5 days, in 5 minutes, in 5 years, but I do know and do have control over what I'm thinking, where I'm putting my focus and attention, and how I'm feeling. I can guide that. So me being crystal clear about that and recognizing that money and wealth is vibrational in the same way that my emotion is vibrational, I can begin to experience a deeper kind of emotional and spiritual abundance right here and now. Sometimes it manifests as money, sometimes it manifests as friends, sometimes it manifests as health. But I think that's the key for me, because if you do focus only on the money, often we have so much resistance inside, we just create more lack and scarcity.
Right, and money is interesting. I think it's a great litmus test of seeing where you are, because it's a direct correlation of an exchange. Like, I want to serve, there's a value here, what do you need, I've got this, and coming to that service place of whatever your gift is to give the world, but understanding what people actually need. It's simple equations, or simple economics rather. So knowing that you've got to actually decide what is the actual exchange and getting that communication in and making that exchange. And it's a basic thing, but I think that especially as women, I think that we tend to just think, I'm just going to give service and give love and it's going to come back however it's going to come back, but we've got to get more specific of what the actual exchange of energy is.
And it's tough because so much of it is arbitrary. I remember I was trying to set my rates for coaching, and it was so difficult because I looked at what the pricing was, or the average rate in the field was. It was one thing. I was brand new, so I thought I should offer something less. And over time, I realized I should offer something a lot more than that. So we've got these stories around money that don't serve us very well. And I think, as much as we want to work through some of those stories, often it's better to not focus on the money piece as much, at least for me, but to focus on living the truest and fullest expression of your purpose. When you're in alignment with that, things seem to line themselves up sort of more easily and organically. But what's worked for you, Jazz, I wonder?
Well, that's why I'm asking,
yeah.
to be quite honest, because it's something that I've always kind of been a little bit afraid of, if I'm being honest. I don't want to check my bank account because I don't want to see how low it is. Not because I don't believe it will come back, because I believe it will, but at the same time, it scares me. I've really never had ownership over that in a way that I felt like I had control, that I was able to invest what I had and that I would continue to receive. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to hang on to what I've got because I'm so scared, So I've been really trying to break through from that, but it's not easy. I mean, that's decades worth of programming.
Well, I would say it's not familiar. And if you practice, it gets easier and it becomes more familiar. And I know one of the things that was important for me at some point in time, I just made a decision, honestly, is we can make it very complex, but I made a decision that I wasn't going to be wealthy, but that I was wealthy right here and now. I made that decision and I began walking in that assumption every single day of my life. Some days the appearances didn't match that at all. Most days, in fact, they didn't. But I have stayed true to that inside, deeply, truly, I feel infinitely wealthy in ways that I would say previously or prior in my life I never did.
Right, but sometimes clients, like I've worked with clients, they've got to get mad. They need to hit that bottom out and go, no, I'm going to know my self-worth. I'm going to demand that I get money, period. It's not like, and I think a lot of people, I think that you're very good at that type of manifesting, but for some people, they're just delusional going, oh, I think it'll just arrive somewhere. Like, get mad, get angry, command it, and declare, I am worth enough to say I deserve cash. That's right. Because cash is God too. So let's just claim it right here and right now that we are abundant. There's only abundance, and it's only to the extent that you declare it and command that, because we are co-creating with all of the universe, and you deserve it. Jazz, you work your ass off, you're intelligent, and it's time. Let's declare it right now. It's done. It's done. All right, and so it is.
Love that, Jazz.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that, everyone.
So on that note, let's take a little break and let's go back and talk with some gentlemen about how they have created wealth in their life.
Hello, Los Angeles. I am your host and producer, Alex Worley, filming inside Focus TV's West Hollywood studio. Welcome to Empowerista, a show dedicated to highlighting female trailblazers and empowering you to turn your barriers into breakthroughs.
Hey guys, I'm Amy Packrat.
And I'm Justin Walter.
And this is What's Good, the show that's dedicated to positive, uplifting news from all over the world.
We are live.
Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning LaLaLand. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jasmine Moyer. This is Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV and Roku. It's going to be a Good Morning LaLaLand.
Hola, yo soy Gina Moreno y soy una reportera aquí en Los Ángeles. Para mí, mi pasión es para decir las historias de las personas que han luchado lo imposible. Todas las entrevistas aquí en Focus TV. Hi, I'm Gina Moreno, a reporter here in Los Angeles, and my passion is to tell people's stories, the stories of people who have accomplished the impossible. For all the interviews, make sure to watch Focus TV.
Welcome back to Good Morning LaLaLand. It's hashtag Wealth Wednesday. We have Zach Hurley in the house, who is the co-founder of Indie Source. How are you?
Doing well.
So you guys, tell us a little bit about this. You basically work with different people for having their specific lines. They basically co-create with you.
Right.
Is that
they
correct?
have an idea, and often they don't have a fashion background. Right. They just have a creative inspiration, and they want to make something, but they don't know the first step. So they come to us, and we execute the technical with them. We hold their hand through the process of developing the idea. We source fabrics, we make patterns, we cut and sew, and then we iterate until the prototype is perfect. And then from there, they have the choice to go, take the sample out, raise money, show people, get feedback, and test the concept really. And then once they're ready, they put in an order, and we actually manufacture everything in Los Angeles.
Wow. So where did you come up with this idea?
It came from talking to a lot of people in this industry that were doing this, but were kind of stuck. And so this is about 6 years ago. We were at Magic trade show, which is coming up in a couple days, actually.
Big show in Vegas.
Big show in Vegas.
Yeah.
And we were actually there because we were selling some clothing for this Peruvian guy that we had met, and we traded him. He said, hey, if you can get my product into the US market, you can use my factory, right? This is the first time I even got into this whole thing, so I was like, sure, let's see what's happening. And so being at the show, I was kind of not really into his clothing. It was like a little bit not my style. But we started going down booth by booth and talking to all of the people that had these booths. And the weird thing, only one of them, it was their first show. It was the first time they had ever done it. And they were all printing on blank t-shirts. It was all very generic. We're like, why are you guys, you're actually doing the same thing. There's no differentiation. Like, what do you know about manufacturing? And they didn't know anything. And I said, what if we could make something really custom for you that was like the fabric you pick, the fit you pick, like totally yours? And they all like really liked that thought. And so we started to basically develop this clientele of people that wanted to make something completely custom rather than just like printing something on a shirt.
So what's that like? Of course, people buying locally and working locally. What has that been like for you? Has it been more expensive? What are the pitfalls, or what are the pros and cons of that?
So it depends on how you look at it. If you're new getting into the industry, you really, really want to make it here. There's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, you don't have to make as much. So you don't have to make thousands of units. Number two, you have oversight. You can speak in English. You can communicate. I mean, every day people walk into my office with horror stories having gone to China without experience. If you go to China, you have to be prepared to be flying there.
You, yes.
Right, be flying there every single month at least, right? Even if you are there, you have to know what to look for. So the idea is that most people don't have that background, and we've slowly created an ecosystem for them to build their businesses and thrive. And so, I mean, fast forwarding to now, we have taken a very fragmented LA industry where you have the cutters over here and the sample makers here and all these different people all around the city that are spread out, and we brought them under one roof. And so we do all of our prototyping together where each person communicates with each other so that if there's an issue, they can solve it really quickly. And because we're making such unique products, they have to be able to talk, otherwise it'll never work.
So as the co-founder and the CEO of this business, tell us a little bit about creating the business. I mean, what was your biggest challenge in doing that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, the industry is very archaic. So they don't really want to be disrupted, right? There's a lot of, I'm extremely young, especially when I started for being into this industry. And so nobody really wanted to take us seriously when we were starting. So a lot of age discrimination, but also they're not using technology the way the tech world is. So I'm dealing with, we have like 70 different fabric vendors that we work with. And I've had to go over to where they are and help them set up a merchant processor because they wanted me to fax an order, right? So that's types of challenges where I'm not just struggling to build this business and this ecosystem, but the entire industry is really, really old.
So how do you deal with that, though, the ageism and being taken seriously as the founder of your business?
You just get you put your head down and you just go. I mean, like, you can't, to me, that's just a motivator, because I just think it's ridiculous now. And I would say probably 10 years ago it would be harder, because now you have people like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg running the world, and so that's not so much a thing anymore. But yeah, it's about constantly solving problems every single day. That's what I do for a living. It's just solving problems. The moment they begin. So day one, they're, hey, I have this idea. I want to do this thing. I'm a little nervous. They're vulnerable. And they just they talk about it, and they communicate, and they tell the story from the beginning. The ones that don't do well are the ones that wait till they have hundreds of pieces sitting in their garage, and oh yeah, I have to do marketing, right?
Yeah.
So they have a plan for the whole thing, and they know who their customer is. And they take the time to really ask them questions and see, is this the right thing? And they're vulnerable. So that they can start to get feedback. And once you have that fan base, you can say, hey, would you guys like this? Or what if I did this? You can test things better. But if you have nobody watching, it's hard to do that.
So true. So you work with influencers essentially, online.
Well, not, so influencers is a niche, right? Because influencers often are trying to monetize. They have a lot of attention, and so they have a great opportunity to build a product that's not, you know, vitamin water or any of these like supplement things that you see them promoting all the time, but something that's really on brand to them, right? So something that they would wear, that they really love. They can make a product that fits their image, and they can start to build a business around that. So that's a huge opportunity for them, and so we work with a number of them to make products and help them, you know, make more money. We also work with a tremendous, the majority of our customers are just average Americans that have an idea, that are working a job maybe, and they've thought of something, this has been on my mind for a while, and I really want to do this. So I'll give you some examples. Lines for women who are really tall. You have tennis lines. You have sweatpant overalls. You have basically anything you could possibly imagine. People are solving problems every day.
I love that one, the sweatpants overalls.
That's what we're doing right now.
Sign me up.
Yeah, and those guys are crushing it, right? Because they just made it something that is interesting and that people want to wear. So it can be fashion lifestyle. It can also be product function related and just, hey, people need this. This is going to solve a problem. So while I do work with influencers and I think they have an advantage because they already have the attention, this is for anybody that wants to become an entrepreneur, that wants independence and wants to create a life for themselves that they have control.
So if they come to you, what do they need to bring in order to be prepared to actually bring this to fruition?
They have to have the idea. Like, they have to really know what that is. So for example, if they're gonna do like a women's athletic line, they gotta know generally like what that's gonna look like, right? So we ask them to bring in reference samples and things from the market, ideas, photos, actual garments that they like. And they don't need a fashion degree. They don't need sketches either. We get them to bring in the right here, put it on the table, and we say, okay, well, what do you like about this garment? What do you like about this garment? And they point to it, and we Frankenstein the whole thing together based off of what they want. So they get to act as the designer without having to really have the background.
Oh my God,
Wow,
you're
so
making
cool.
the impossible possible.
Right.
So if somebody comes to you and they're set up in that way, they're already clear in their mind about what sort of they want to do, and you help them to sort of customize this in a way and streamline it in a way that can go to market. How long does it take on average to ramp up so that they're in a place where they feel like maybe, you know, there's a regular sort of source of income coming in?
I think you want to give yourself, it depends on how much money you start with, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing. And one of the things that we focus on in that initial meeting is the money. So we talk about, what are you investing? What are your goals financially? And sometimes it's just, I want to be able to make my salary.
Yeah,
and
I want to get out of my regular 9 to 5.
It's really easy. We take the total number of units you need to sell and we extrapolate that to figure out what type of net profit you need to be at to be able to like make a living and not have to do that other job anymore. So it really depends, but just usually to ramp up development, to go through production and to start selling, you want to give yourself 8-9 months. Yeah.
And what about the actual, like how does it ship? I mean, just I'm sure people are curious.
Our
like,
brands are responsible for selling it to their customers.
so they can choose Etsy or they can choose what, like how do they get it
shouldn't
delivered
choose
to their,
Etsy. Well,
I don't know the industries.
Right. So typically, so
talking
they'll
that
have
way.
a site, right? So maybe they have any type of e-commerce site, or some of them do go wholesale. But the majority of our brands are skipping out on wholesale, going direct to consumer online. They're putting their time into marketing.
So they're in their living rooms packing it up.
So no. So often the first one you do that, which I think is smart. You get to just touch it, feel it, be responsible for that. You just use fulfillment. So then the next piece is that they just put it in there's distribution centers and fulfillment warehouses all over the city.
Okay.
The city of LA is phenomenally set up for what we do. The labor force is great. There's millions of yards of fabric, and these are from mills that are constantly stocking the same stuff. And there's warehouses, like it's really, really set up. Most people don't realize how much production is done here.
So I'm wondering, what's the unfair advantage your company has in doing what you do?
We've created process that allows us to really help those that don't have that background and get them to market, get them to launch. And the traditional model is, oh, you want to start something? Cool. Order 1,000 units and I'll make you a sample. and they're like skipping 100 steps and trying to like force you into production. And we've realized from so many calls, hey, I went to this person, they couldn't help me. This other guy wanted me to put in all this big order, but I don't even have a sample yet. That people were skipping the right stages and getting something made and prototyped, and sometimes they even need time to take it back and test it and see what people like, and that was not there before. And so now we have a process that makes it easy, and every designer that we work with, every client gets a project manager who's been in the industry for a long time and really knows how to navigate the whole thing.
Wow.
That's fantastic. So instead of skipping the dating and the courtship and running right to the altar.
That's how you end up with loss. That's how you end up with, oh, I just invested 30K and now it's gone. So
how can people find you and work with you?
I mean, we're online, indiesource.com.
Indiesource.com.
Yep.
There you go.
Our Instagram is indie_source. And yeah, we're going to Magic in a couple of days, like I said, and we're actually doing a contest, giving away $5,000 for someone to start their line. So go ahead and follow us, and we'll be posting that in the next like 24 hours or so.
Oh,
All right. Jazz might just be.
I'm signing up for the contest.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being
Thanks
here.
so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land. A long time, your new single, produced by Pooh Bear.
Yes.
Works with the bees.
Yes.
This is massive.
It is, yeah. I was so amazed because I actually wrote a song about Justin Bieber in my previous album, and suddenly, you know, Pooh Bear comes along, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I gotta meet Justin. This is like, this is fate, this is destiny right here. So yeah, it was an amazing experience working with him. He's super talented, he's so humble, he's so down to earth, and it was just a blast working with him. You know, I'm living the best life. I have great parents, I have such good friends, I have a dream, you know, I have my music, I have my friends, so I think I'm really happy.
Welcome back to Purpose. I am your host, Brittany Zonker. I am flying with Anders Seeley, the acro yoga instructor. This is insane, guys. I've been like this for like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Out. Yeah, I'm just hanging out. It feels like you should do this every day to me.
You can set up some sessions.
This feels amazing.
Yeah.
You guys, if you want to train with Anders Seeley, all you have to do is look him up on Instagram. He is absolutely incredible. I've had an amazing time interviewing Mr. Seeley today. He teaches all over the world. He will help your body, mind, and your soul find your purpose. For this episode of Purpose, I'm your host, Brittany Zonker. I'll see you next time.
I mean, you have been a host and much more than that for many, many years. Any tips you can give us?
You start early in the morning here, so as long as you have somebody who like picks up the speed for you, it's kind of like any relationship, right? Like someone has to have your back. Like if they know, like you're not knowing where the next camera is, the next question, you know, as long as you're in tune with each other. But I think your show is incredible, and I'm so thrilled that I could be a part of it today. But more than that, it is about saying, hey, you know what, we need to impact change. What is the one little way in our own world that we can impact change? And whether it's you guys interviewing certain people, bringing awareness to topics, this is what needs to happen, because we've all woken up and we know, we know what the future is if we keep going down this path.
I know that the calling and the purpose is so much greater than me trying to get my hair right, to go to the red carpet and whatever. I got to keep up because the purpose is so great. Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We have the Jet Guy in the house, Hunter S. Gaylor. Thank you so much for being with us
Always,
today.
always.
Everybody
it's
needs
good.
a Jet Guy.
Good to see you.
You know.
I know.
Everyone needs one. Rob's gonna have one pretty soon.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Yeah, we're trying to
manifest that.
So
That's right.
What does
Wealth
it
Wednesday.
mean to be the Jet Guy?
I'm the man with the plan. I got what you need.
You're the man with the plane.
The plane. Yeah, the man with the exactly. Well done on that one.
How did you become the man with the plan, the plane?
Well, so actually, it's a long, like crazy story, but it's entertaining nonetheless. I mean, my whole family, I come from a military family. I come from an aviation family. My grandfather was the Air Force attaché to all of Africa during World War II, so dealt a lot with the UN. So it's kind of in my blood. And then through a series of technology companies, and was in college, always been interested in aviation, and just kind of fell into it through some mentorships, and now I'm the Jet Guy. It's all about relationships, though. At the end of the day, that's what I think, right?
It is
social capital.
It's interesting.
That's exactly right.
I used to fly around on quite a few jets because I had a boyfriend for some years that had jets, and it was really fascinating.
Hashtag humble brag.
Yeah, honestly, I could really care less about airplanes. I'm not going to lie. Like, it just wasn't my thing.
Sure.
But it is really a man thing, I got to say, in business, and it's almost like you have to have a jet to do certain business with certain people.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, it's not like an option for some. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you the people that I work with, and I maintain a very boutique set of clientele because it's not a mass market. So when you read about, you know, apps and new technologies that come out, and I started a technology company when I was in college, my undergrad at Harvard, and we've always thought about, you know, you make a lot of money if you could sell something to a lot of people, right? But in certain industries, like whether it's luxury real estate or, you know, transportation, aviation, they're not manufacturing jets every day, right? So these companies require that their CEOs and their executives and their business development teams get to where they need to be anywhere in the globe, right, in a time efficient manner, and that they're well rested. And I'm sure we've all experienced the headache of what can happen during traveling around the holiday seasons and commercial airlines, and it can be a nightmare. So what we do is it's that boutique service of the man with the plan and the plane, right? I like that. I'm going to put that on my website, huntergaylor.com/fly, you know?
She's an expert in tweetables.
Yeah, I love that.
But
That's
it is,
great.
if you take a look at the mathematics, because that's what the justification was in a lot of these men's mind. And I honor anyone that wants a jet should have a jet, whatever, as long as we're helping,
just call me,
doing some green tech on the side to make up for the fuel. But literally they would calculate how much their hours of work were worth per hour, how much they made when they made hundreds of millions of dollars, and they couldn't afford that. It didn't make sense for them the extra, you know, hour it took to go to the regular airport. That's how they justified it in their mind.
Yeah, and really the corporations are justifying it as well, because it's a time management cost. Where is my management? Where's my CEO? And how does he get in front of his most important customers to keep the growth of the business going? So when you look at the supply chain, you look at some of these major manufacturing companies. The beauty of aviation, and I think, you know, I'm a little bit of a history guy, so, you know, aviation was born here in the U.S. So when you look at the Wright brothers, bicycle shop mechanics that came in and then started, you know, flight. I mean, they basically at Kitty Hawk. That's when it all started. And from there, we've had a history of growing an aviation sector that has shrunk the globe. So it's brought us in closer relationship with people in different cultures, different companies, different collaborations that could have never happened before. Technology to make planes greener, more efficient, fly farther, faster, longer is tremendous. So you're right. I mean, but from a governmental perspective, it's important too, because it allows the opportunity to connect with foreign leaders. Governments have better relationships with governments. I work very closely with heads of state, different countries, and this is a key factor. So the ability for, like, our current president to go to North Korea and have a meeting to potentially foster peace, that could have not happened. I mean, they didn't have a Skype session, right? I mean, that's something you have to sit down with someone and you create better relationships.
A plan and a plane.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And there's a lot of planning that goes into it.
What would you say, Hunter, has been the greatest challenge to being the jet guy, and how have you overcome that challenge?
It's definitely maintaining the relationships with the right people and dealing with a diverse set of personalities. I mean, especially being here in Los Angeles, but also working with a lot of people on the East Coast and then expanding to other parts of the globe, because it's a relationship business. I mean, you're dealing with secretaries to schedulers to assistants, and even at the end of the day, the end customer, whoever it may be, whether it's a rapper or a sports star or whoever. It's a diverse set of personalities. So it's really kind of being able to kind of be relational, relatable, and relevant. That's kind of how I try to. That's kind of like my. But I'd say that's the biggest thing is just managing the personalities and always having that really good customer service and follow up and be a problem solver for them at the end of the day. How can I help you? And it's not just in aviation, it may be in their technology company. Say, Hunter, we know you have an experience doing this. I said, sure, let me give you some how I would do it if I was in your situation.
Besides the experience, what is it you, Hunter, that makes you so successful in maintaining and fostering these relationships?
I think it has to do a little bit with my spirituality. I mean, that's if I'm opening up and digging, we're on the couch. Right place, right?
Yeah, you're the trust tree here.
The trust tree. It is. I think that you have to understand the core of who you are as an individual. and you can't put up with baloney. I think too many people allow themselves to be walked over. That's not going to happen, right? Like, I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you the service I'm going to give you. And if you don't like it, move on. I don't care, right? And I think if more people were direct and honest, we would have better relationships.
For sure.
And so, you know, I think to answer the question, why am I that way? I think it starts internally, right? Being comfortable with who I am, knowing who I am. Knowing that people are going to say things about you. Everybody says everything about everyone, right? You know, Jesus wasn't even fully liked by everyone, right?
Okay.
So
Clearly.
And that tells you something,
Clearly.
right?
Yes, most people did not like him,
Yeah, right,
actually,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you know, so in business and in your personal life, how do you do that? And I think it's just having a strong sense of conviction.
Right.
And
so
I think
what
that
sets
drives.
your company apart from the next jet company?
Sure. I think the big thing is me. I think it's 100% myself, Hunter Gaylor, period, end of discussion,
I like
right?
it. Confidence,
And-
hashtag confidence.
Yeah, and it's not even a cocky thing. It's 100% confident because it's like, look, yes, you can go deal with other large multinational corporations that have been in the industry way longer than I have. But what they're not going to give you is that first white glove concierge service that you're going to get, that relationship service that you're going to get, that you're going to be comfortable and your family's going to be comfortable and your clients are going to be comfortable and your brand's going to be comfortable and everything around you is going to be comfortable to know that you're going to be safe. I mean, because the last thing that we want to see happen is what just unfortunately happened recently down in Santa Ana with the plane crashing. And, you know, with me that doesn't happen. At least we plan for it not to happen, right? Because you have to be safe. Safety and security is number one. And I know the airplanes better than anybody else. I know the makes, the models, the tail numbers. I'm able to really understand where you need to go, how you need to get there, and then what the right plane for you is. So.
I love that.
Oh, I'll consult with him on my private plane.
Yeah.
No problem.
And I want Erin's plane.
No problem.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But admit it, it's like an amazing way to travel.
It's amazing. Well, and the best thing about planes actually is the hangars. Those are the
Oh,
best
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
hangars where people
Absolutely.
hang out, and it's like there's a whole cultural. And what's fascinating for me is that, you know, we all have our judgments of wealth and what's not wealthy and all that stuff, but some of the most evolved, conscious people making a huge difference in the world are some of the wealthiest people I know. I mean, you get that far up and there's a self-actualization that happens, and a lot of them are doing the green tech stuff also.
Sure.
So just want to honor that, you know, our birthright is wealth, and we do have an obligation to give back as well. So I
Yeah.
honor you in
Absolutely.
that whole community.
Yeah, and I think too that the big part in that is when you look at, I mean, I work with several technology companies. One of them, ironically, is called Jet Hunter, right? and in it is a technology platform that's making it easier for people to connect to the airlines. But also part of what they're doing is social consciousness, right? Especially in the tech world, right? Because I think a lot of people are in technology, coming from that background. I had a pretty successful company when I was in college, but you know, the whole idea was how can we use what we make and actually solve real problems, right? You know, solve actual problems, not go create an app that's like a nice added benefit, but how can we solve real problems? And what I like about the aviation space is when it shrinks the globe and it brings people closer together and you can have a more honest and open conversation with people. That's the beauty of transportation and aviation.
That's right. Awesome.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
just
really appreciate it.
beautiful.
Tell people where they can find you.
Just go to huntergaylor.com if you want to charter /fly.
There you
Or
go.
on Instagram, Hunter Gaylor. So it's
Awesome.
pretty easy.
The Jet Guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land.
Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Simone, and this is Jasmine Moyer, and we're at Focus TV Network, and we are reporting to you what happened this week in Focus. Last week on the #Harry and Kelly Show, we had
Ryan Kendrick.
Yes. On the LA Home Show, we featured
A very special guest with her own furniture company, Ms. Farrah Abraham.
On Purpose with Brittany Zonker, we had
Acro Yoga with Andrew Seeley, Cupping with Dr. Lee, and also Eric Bigger.
Speaking of Andrew Seeley, he was on Good Morning La La Land.
He did, and I tried Acro Yoga here on set for the very first time.
I think we have some footage of that.
Oh God.
Speaking of Good Morning La La Land, we had a week full of guests who was on that show.
We had a ton of special guests. I'm so excited to announce we had Farrah Abraham on the show. She brought her daughter, Sophia.
So cute.
We also featured JJ Jurgens, the creator of Tom Girl TV, as well as James Arthur Ray. We also had a great demonstration by Andrew Hernandez, who is a special instructor for Strong by Zumba. And then I also had the incredible honor to go on location to the Gibson showroom for the final broadcast from their stage.
Speaking of the Gibson event, you were at a lot of events last week.
I was. We were also celebrating Concern Foundation's 44th annual block party at the Paramount Backlot. And if you can't tell, we have a lot of fun here. Let's take a look.
COO and founder of Building Construction Group, Scott Harris.
Sorry, it's co-founder.
Oh, fuck me, Natalie. And co-founder of the Building Group, Scott Harris.
Thank you, Building Construction Group.
Oh shit, let's do it again.
Once you go chocolate, you don't want to stop it.
God.
I'll stop.
Why are you making it so complicated? She hasn't gone in and out and in her shirt again.
This is so hard. What else do I need to do?
Andy, can we see the monitor? We don't know. I don't know what my hair looks like. I have to. It's not fair.
The heavyweight, the UFC middleweight. I totally fucked that up. Hang on a second.
I wish my boots looked like yours. Where are they?
On last week's episode of Harry and Kelly, we had.
Right, Kendrick. Yeah. I almost called him Kendrick Lamar.
Why are you not taking like outtakes?
Yeah, why aren't we
this is
taking
so
this?
funny.
Thank you all so much for the laughs and being community powered. That was This Week in Focus. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are having a Wealth Wednesday conversation. Real estate entrepreneur Antonio Edwards. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thanks for having me on Wealth
So
Wednesday.
nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Love your pink shirt. So pretty.
So
Thank
you
you.
are the real estate rich and famous.
Yes, I'm the founder of that right there, that whole movement. And I mean, real estate has changed the game for me and changed my life. It opened up so many doors, perspectives, especially where I come from. So anybody that's watching this, I don't care what you do, I think you need some type of real estate in your life sometime in your life, whether it's, you've been doing your career 20 years, 30 years, I think you need to own a type of property.
So what is the Real Estate Rich and Famous?
So Real Estate Rich and Famous is basically an academy where people that's looking to flip their first deal or get into real estate, where I have like so much content where I'm showing them how to, the basics of how to get a property under contract, how to fix and flip, how to do rentals. So I provide different content on that platform where people can go and get started, and if they want to go further into real estate, I'll proceed from there. But there's so much rich content on that academy site where so many people go up there, they learn, whether it's my YouTube videos or the Real Estate Rich and Famous.
I love that.
And I provide free content there.
I love that.
Wow.
So question for you, because I did real estate also in my 20s, and
Absolutely.
it's an amazing place to build assets.
Absolutely.
Very challenging to make it your whole career, in my opinion. Looking back, I think for most people should probably keep their day job, if you will, and build their assets. What's your take on that? Should they?
Well,
should they
Erin,
quit their
this
day
is his
job?
take on it. Did you see this? His viral video. He's rapping and he is rich and famous in real estate.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Flip the deal and got a check. That's Erin's dance right there.
Right?
That's a great point that you touch base on. I don't tell anybody, or I don't advise anybody to quit their job. What I do is, my rule of thumb is every 5 properties I flip, I buy one to hold. So if you can acquire assets and acquire that passive income that exceeds your lifestyle, then quit your job. So when I quit my job, I was in the music business. So when I hopped into the real estate business 3 years after the music business, I quit the music business to pursue real estate. I didn't have a job, so I was already coming from ground up. 2009 in the bus, I was like, was little competition because the bus was what, 2008, give or take. So 2009, it was a little competition in the real estate market, and I was just flipping deals with little experience.
Right.
And I think my first year I did 26 flips.
Wow.
Wholesale flips.
Wow.
So if
Yeah, good luck finding those now.
Trust me. You need experience now,
Right.
but
We're waiting for the next crash. We're gonna go straight in there.
Erin, careful what you make. I was going to say, by the way, don't manifest another crash. Be you and be great.
That's
Tell me
right.
about this book.
Yeah, so that book, when I started my real estate coaching program back in 2012, I believe it was, I noticed a lot of people had a lot of limited beliefs. They want to get it like, Tony, I want to get in real estate, I want to learn how to do this, and I'm getting to the coaching with them, how to flip their first deal or their next deal. I was like, you know what, this is more like therapy, or it's more the mindset than them trying to get to that next deal or that first deal. So I came out with this book, You'd Be Great, and I give it to all my coaching clients, like, read this book, get your mind right first, because any business that you're in, you gotta have your mind right.
I just love that, because that's I think we all as coaches, folks in the helping profession, no matter what you do, or in the relationship business of any kind, you discover that lots of people are taking the exact same action steps, but they're getting dramatically different results.
Right.
And that was the invitation for me to say, oh, there's something more going on here that has to be psychological or emotional. And so what have you discovered about sort of how to break through those limiting beliefs?
So that's a great question, Rob. So I think to break through your limited beliefs, you have to pick the right circle. First and foremost, you have to hang with specific people. And where I come from is like, I had to adopt new friends in a circle of influence, because my friends that I chose by choice, they weren't getting me but so far. They were cool, okay, but they didn't have the vision that I wanted to go, that new vision I wanted to go. So I was self-aware, and people that's watching this, hopefully this will give you the self-awareness that, hey, maybe, is my circle have the same vision or similar vision that I want to be in the next 2 years, a year, or 5 years? You have to adopt a new circle. You have to hang with a certain influence to get you where you want to go.
So I feel good about that. We've got a good circle.
Yeah, this is an excellent circle. And second of all, you have to take action. It's never going to be the perfect thing. You're never going to have the perfect blueprint, the perfect plan. You have to take action. And within that right circle, they're going to push you. So you got to make sure that circle pushes you and you push them. You got to be committed and be consistent with whatever your plan is. So going back to real estate, a lot of objections that I overcome is like, man, I don't have any money. Okay, I don't have any good credit. That's why it's wholesaling. So when I got started in real estate, I did wholesaling, which I was, anybody understand?
Explain that.
Explain that. Oh, this is a game changer. This, like, when I first got introduced to wholesaling back in 2009, I was like, is this legal?
My son.
Like, why don't they teach this in school? Yeah. So basically, wholesaling, okay, you get a property under contract, just say for $250,000, you can walk in and get in this single family house, or even a strip mall. It could be anything, any type of asset, but a single family property for $250K under contract. You walk in, sign the contract and/or signs with your seller. They think you're the buyer, but on that contract you have an and/or signs clause, meaning that you can assign it to any buyer within the duration of your contract. So I do my numbers. I see this property is worth $450 fixed up. I have a buyer that's gonna buy it for $300K. I call, hey buyer, hey Rob, I got this property for $300K. Drive by 123 Main Street, you drive by, be like, hey, I'll buy it for $290. Okay? So I'll sign my contract for a $40,000 assignment fee. He brings the $290,000 to the closing table. I get the $40,000, the seller the $250.
Yeah, is that even legal?
You have a fix and flip property that you're gonna put $75K into it, and was worth what, $450 or whatever it fixed up, and
that's
you
just
make
like
the
a
money.
transfer fee.
Dude, I did 26 of these my first year, and it was like a game changer. So that's why I say every 5 properties I flip, I like to buy one for a hold for my long-term play.
But that's in a buyer's market. So we're not in a buyer's market right now per se.
Well, it depends on what state you're in.
But you can always wholesale.
I'm an advocate for real estate, so I'm your #1 fan for sure.
Yeah. So real estate is definitely a game changer, and I like to overcome other people's objections, because like I said, the first 2 things, I don't have any money, I don't have any credit. But if they do have money, be like, I don't have any credit. Like, well, buy some properties cash. If you have selling thing, you can just buy some properties cash for a long-term play. Or if you have no money and good credit, and maybe you can display like a little bit of income, you can go utilize the bank's money, OPM, use other people's money to use as leverage to buy properties.
So people can go to your website,
Yep.
Real Estate Rich and Famous, to learn more from you, right? And your content's free?
Yes, AntonioEdwards.com.
You're just giving this all away, aren't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you can find me on YouTube as well. Just type in Antonio Edwards, or I put free content on my Instagram.
Well, thank you for that. I think it's really powerful that you're sharing what you do know and you're not charging for it. So I really admire that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's because he's killing on the real estate.
That's right. And real estate's such a great market, because there's always a way to innovate and make money in the market. Whether you're short selling or you're flipping,
and we can get deep into it
We're running out of time, but I think they should definitely check you out. I think that it's very inspiring, and everybody can make money, whether it be holding short term, whatever. It's
Absolutely.
all real estate's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so
true.
much for
Thank
all your
you.
work. Stay tuned,
Thank
you guys. We'll be right back.
All right.
For you, in this moment, what feels most true to you?
The three of you. Really grounded and present and like honored to be sitting with other like-minded individuals. I think that it's so important with everything that's going on in the world that this is our now, that this is hopefully the future. And you know, because of the experience with certain things on TV in the past, it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking to watch, and it's heartbreaking to see other people go through it. And people out there watching it don't really understand what it does to your psyche and to your heart. It's just tragic. And so I think what you guys are doing here is absolutely just a gift.
This is my sanity.
I can see that.
There's so much insanity in my life and uncertainty. This is my truth.
I have a hard time saying no to. One is a boy in a band, and the second is a Snickers bar. So I wrote a song about both.
I hear you, sister.
Chasing you down like an ice cream truck. Every damn time that my phone lights up, I'll be salivating at the sound of what's up. Yo, what's up? Boy, you're delicious. It's too bad you ain't nutritious. When you say my name, it's like candy. When you kiss my lips, it's like candy. You're no good for me, you're like candy. You're like candy, hey.
Here's
Oh, thank you guys.
Love addiction. I hear it. Wow.
Do you guys want to be my backup singer?
It's like, okay, you guys, come on. We need to get vulnerable here.
Totally. I think it's okay to pepper it in, and I love beautiful content, and I've always been a fan of putting out really quality content, but at the same time, I think that it's really important for my industry to tell their story. The mission has definitely been to inspire women to be the best version of themselves and kind of be an example and a role model for a lot of girls that are reading my blog.
What's been the biggest challenge for you in doing this, in building this business?
Ooh, the biggest challenge, I think, is how consistent you really have to be. So what I've had to do is learn that I'm like a cell phone. I have 100% charge, and it goes down to 1%. And when it's down there, I need to step back, recharge. The consistency of creating content, it can be a lot, but I think I love it. And
Money, money, money. We're talking money today on Good Morning LALALAND. Thanks for joining us. It's been Wealth Wednesday, and the question of the day is, what is your #1 money-making tip for our audience? So we can
Antonio,
start.
#1 money-making tip.
#1 money-making tip is to educate yourself, and whatever niche you're in, get a mentor, a trusted mentor that's they can push you to that next level, 10x your business. So this is pretty much 2 tips, but educate yourself and get a mentor.
What about you, Jet Guy?
Oh, just wake up and work. That's it. Just work. I mean, just keep going. Don't stop. Just keep going. Every obstacle, just keep going. That's it.
Yeah.
Perseverance.
Mine's kind of similar, which is you have to dig past the first layer to uncover the opportunity. And sometimes you have to go 5 layers in. And so that's any person you talk to, people that you meet, being genuinely interested in what they're doing and uncovering what's really going on and understanding the whole context around that gives you the opportunity, which leads to money.
Awesome.
Make it rain. This is Good Morning LALALAND, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. You can also check out these interviews available as a podcast on iTunes.
That's right. We're waking up the world together, you guys. Have a wonderful day and claim your prosperity. It's your birthright.
It's going to be a good morning, LaLa.